Settingz on 100.3. Kumasi on 98.5. In Tamale on 99.7.
Blessings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is King Lagazee. Right now, I'm on the campus of the University of West Indies in Mona, in Jamaica. And as you can see, I'm at the Reggae unit right now. And when I got on campus, I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I can't believe my eyes that reggae music is in the curriculum over here and they are studying it. You understand me? All right? Right now, I am going in there to go have one-on-one with Dr. Dennis Howard, who happens to be a lecturer over here at the reggae unit. Let's go into how reggae music started, all the historical backgrounds, the difference between reggae dancehall and also sound system culture and all that. All inclusive. We're going to have a beautiful discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to follow this. This Jamaican diary is going to be another thing. Let's go. As we enter into his office, come. Dr. Dennis Howard is, a veteran broadcaster. He's a producer. He's a lecturer. When it comes to reggae music, you can't do without him. You understand me? Doing a few rounds with him in Kingston, just affirm it that he is the order of the day. He is the real deal. Because anywhere I go, people are like, yo, Lagazee, you're working with the right man. You understand me? They decide the man. They decide the man. Let's start our reasoning. Doc, how you doing?
Welcome to Jamaica first. It's long overdue. And I'm glad that you're here. And I'm great.
We give thanks, Doc. So I would like you to tell us about yourself, who Dr. Dennis Howard is.
Well, I am a person who was brought up into the culture. My late dad, who just recently passed on, James Howard, also known as Jimmy Solo, was the man who kind of schooled me in the culture. So I was always around the music. I was always around sound systems. And he was a sound system operator and a dance promoter. So, and every Jamaican, especially when you grow up in the 60s, the 50s, the 70s, and even up to the 80s, you cannot escape the music and the culture and the vibrancy of Jamaican culture. You don't escape it. Whether you go to church or whether you go to dance, like how I used to go to dance. So that's my kind of orientation. But I started in broadcasting at a very early age, at 18 after leaving high school, and went through the broadcasting period where I was a technical operator, played a lot of music because, of course, the music was in me already. So my first professional job was to play music and to be involved with the technical aspect of sound and radio broadcasting.
Wow. So in short, you've been dealing with reggae music all this while.
Yeah, man. The Jamaicans, most Jamaicans, especially if you're working class, reggae music and our culture is an integral part of your existence. Even if you don't recognize it as such. Give you an example. There's nowhere in Kingston that you will walk and you're not here after 10, 12 feet or a yard or a mile, you'd hear music. On a Friday night, as you will recognize when we go out on the road, everywhere you'll hear music. And it's and sometimes it's not only recorded music or music from a jukebox or music from a sound system or music from a component set. It is live music. It is live music from the Salvation Army Band. It is live music from the revival people who might be on the road. It might be the evangelical people who are recording or worshiping, and they're on the road, and then playing music. So music is everywhere. Music is in the minibus, music is in the taxi. You'll pass a little man selling, and he's playing music. So if we, sometimes we take it for granted, but it is an integral part of our cultural expression and everything.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're live on Asaase Radio and we're reasoning with Dr. Dennis Howard. Moving into other areas, in terms of you completing high school, jumping onto it, being a broadcaster, dealing with the music and all that, how do you see the state of the music at a younger age where you started as compared to now?
All right. So listen, remember, back in the day, the system in Jamaica is a very colonial system. And it's a system that tells us that anything that comes from the working class black people is not good. So the British system tells us that anything that we create, not good. Anything that the Americans or the British create, that's good. And you had Jamaicans, black men and brown women and white men who used to look down on our culture. So while I grew up in that culture, it was not the desired culture of the day. Like in the 60s when I was young, and even the 70s, Rastafari was being villainized and treated as lower beings and victimized by policemen. And if a young girl came home with a Rasta man in the average working class family, they would run the girl and the man. So that is the context within which the music was growing and developing. But when you have people who believe in themselves, like my father and a bunch of other people who were in the music industry, and despite all of the restrictions and the oppression and the marginalization, they continued to express themselves and create new and different and exciting genres, and created new production styles and all of that. Created what I call the national instrument of Jamaica, which is a sound system. Because prior to that coming together of our assemblage of turntable, speaker, microphone, and recorded music, that never existed anywhere else in the world. It started right here. And so, we love to talk about the golden era of our music. And during that period, it was being ostracized. It is just by sheer determination and the creativity of the players that and because it passed the shores of the island and went out through the help of the diaspora immigrants in London, in Birmingham, in Manchester, in New York, in Hartford, in Miami. All of these people who now realize that what the culture that they had to cling to that, because in those spaces they were also marginalized as black immigrants and said and taught that and told that they were nothing. So in England, people started to cling to the music that was coming out of Jamaica and being created by Jamaicans. And they started their own parties because they couldn't, they were not allowed to enjoy the nightlife of London and New York and all of those places. So they had to create their own spaces. And so that's how in London they had the shoebeans, where they use a building that was unoccupied, fix it up and start a dance, or somebody would use their basement apartment and start a dance. So what is happening now, where it spread out and it is big in Ghana, it is big everywhere, it is kind of weird when people talk about, oh, the music is international now, but it's not as strong as it once was. But when, and they go back to those days of the 70s and the 60s when the music was just starting and emerging and stuff. But yes, it was great. and it found an audience in Jamaica and in the diaspora. But the system within all of these spaces fought it hard. And I don't want people to forget that part of it.
Mhm.
There was a BBC announcer called Tony Blackburn
Mhm.
who declared that reggae sounded like it was made in a toilet and that it was inferior music and that it should not be played on radio. That is what. And then you had people like Desmond Decker and Jimmy Cliff saying that they're not doing reggae because they were based in England and because of the fight that reggae was getting. They declared that they are not doing reggae anymore. This is not me saying this.
Yeah.
This is documented in newspapers. This is when Bob Marley album came out in 73 or 72. I don't remember. The burning, not the burning, the Catch a Fire album. And newspapers saying it is basically primitive music and that it's not going anywhere. These are the contexts that the music emerged in, and it also is a testament to the quality and the creativity and the greatness of reggae music, because it wasn't an easy road for it to reach to international acceptance and international fame, you know. So as I say, it is global now. Reggae is respected as one of the top 5 genres overall, globally.
All right. So the other day, I was searching through the internet and I came across an explanation you gave on dancehall music and also dancehall in terms of where people go to party and all that. Now, I would like us to go into that. What is dancehall and what is dancehall music?
Okay.
What exactly is the difference?
So it depends on who you talk. I am going to tell you from my perspective. The first occurrence of the word dancehall in Jamaican culture is a space where people used to gather and party. There were live music dance halls where orchestras would play, and those were for the middle class and uptown people to enjoy themselves. One of the reasons why sound system emerged in Kingston and elsewhere was because working class people wanted to be entertained. They could not afford to go to the dance halls of the rich and powerful and middle class Jamaicans who were primarily brown skin and Chinese people, you know. So that was a dance hall. Now the other dance hall for working class Kingstonian was the place where sound system operated and played music. And despite the fact that a lot of people portray dancehall as zinc fence and bamboo fence places, the majority of the early dancehall were not like that. They were Forster's Hall. It was Forster's Hall, King Lawn. It was Success Club. All of these places were concrete structures, which are large halls, you know, where you used to have a bunch of lodge who basically, you know, they came together and did their rituals and what have you. And then it was a situation, if you joined the lodge, they'd make sure that when you died, you had one of the greatest funerals and you could afford to have a funeral and all of that sort of thing. So these were a kind of lodge cooperative type of thing. And these halls were scattered around Kingston, Wildman Street, North Street, East Street, Duke Street. And these were the places where a lot of the early dances were kept. Then you had some other lawns which had the zinc fence, but there were few. And so that is what was called a dance hall. Or going to a dance hall, or Coxsone will be playing at Forster's Hall dance hall. And so it is not necessarily on a Sunday, it is the cooperative lodge, and whenever they have their meeting, but when it's the dance time, it becomes a dance hall. Success Club was the same thing. And you had two locations, one mutual cooperative on one side of Wildman Street, and you have Jamaica Success Club on the other side. The one that was used primarily for sound system was Success Club, but you still had concerts at Mutual Cooperative too. So these were the dance halls, and then it spread all over Jamaica, and so then you would have the lawns where you would have the zinc fence and the bamboo. But even in some of these other parishes, there were physical space that were dance halls. So we come to the point where Rocksteady, we create our music, because the early dancehall, we never had any music. The 40s and the 50s, we never had any music. So we used to use the rhythm and blues, the shuffle blues, and the jump blues. That was what was played at dancehalls. Amos Aburn, Roscoe Gordon, Fats Domino, and Louis Jordan, all of these people, that was the music that was being played in dancehall. When we started to create our own music by the late 50s, because the music that we loved was not being produced again in America. Rock and roll was the new era in that period. But we still love the jump blues and the R&B sound. So we started to record those music for sound systems. And out of that experience, the recording music industry started. We had recorded mentor music before, but that was for the international market. And we made a mistake because we labeled our mentor music Calypso, because Calypso, which was the first genre out of the Caribbean to get popular in North America. So because our mentor music sounded similar to Calypso, you had some enterprising producers who decided to record our mentor music, but market it as Calypso, spelling it with a K instead of a C as what they did in Trinidad. So we had those recorded music, but we never had a recorded music business. When we started to record the Jamaican R&B now, after a while, that emerged into a business where people were selling records, and then when 7-inch vinyl came into being, we had a fledgling music industry. So the R&B thing started. Then we started with ska. We moved on transitionally from the Jamaican R&B to ska. Then we moved on to Rocksteady, and in between we developed Naya Bingi, and we had started to do a lot of gospel music. So sometimes people will tell you, oh, in Jamaica the music started with the Mentor, then it went to ska, then it went to Rocksteady, then it went to reggae, and then it went to dancehall. It's more exciting and more dynamic than that, because everything was happening almost at the same time. So while we were developing the ska, Naya Bingi music was being developed also, and ska and R&B music was being played simultaneously. Then there was the transitional period that we moved from ska into Rocksteady. But we never stopped recording ska after 68, you know? Or no, after 66. So there was ska recordings and Rocksteady recordings. Similarly, when we made the transition into reggae, we continued to play reggae, and we continued to play Rocksteady, and even some ska music was being recorded during that period, you know. So it is a kind of dynamic kind of things, and the gospel output of Jamaica is amazing, but we don't talk about it because it's not an original music, because we erroneously labeled it gospel because it's spiritual music, or it's Christian music. But after a while, the kind of music that we were labeling gospel never had any resemblance to what was being recorded as gospel in America. You know, Mahalia Jackson was one of the pioneers in gospel music, And after a while, we moved away from that kind of a style. In fact, we never even started that style. We infused our Christian music with a lot of mento and revival sound. So when you hear people like Otis Wright and when you hear people like Claudel Clark, you hear the mento and the revival in it. And then when you come down to people like nowadays, you have Kukudu and all of them people there, you still hear the revival and the Pocomania style in the music. So basically, it is this dynamic, hyper creative space that is Jamaica, where all of this is happening. And despite we love to say that it is kind of linear. So all of these genres were being played in the dancehall. Rocksteady, reggae, dub, gospel, everything was the dancehall. I had famous lawns or dance halls. So after up to the 1970s, like about 79, the music started to change, just like how it had changed during all of the other periods. This was a period of hyper creativity, so we're always changing the music. So in 79, what emerged was the old rocksteady and reggae rhythms had a rebirth where we started to reuse them. But with the production styles that dub music created, we started to use old rocksteady rhythms and old reggae rhythms, but the style of mixing was different because we started to use the dub style, which is to put in echo, take out the drums, put in the bass, that sort of thing. So you started to have a different sound. Before, most of the other reggae songs were just balanced and the rhythm would play straight and the vocals would play, but now we were playing with the mixing as we did in dub with a regular song. So it started to change. People started to talk about other stuff other than love and liberation and black consciousness, which was the theme of every music from mento straight up to reggae. Started to talk about what's happening in everyday life. So people start talk about, borrow girl clothes, matey songs, them sort of stuff there. So you have songs like Hold Up Your Hand when you see a matey, Cock Up Batika, She Not Ready, them type of song there. And then you had people like Michigan and Smiley say, nice up the dance and painting a picture of what is happening in a dance hall. All right? So the music starts to change. Sugar Mine had started talk about a dance hall with it, and we are playing reggae. But the music is using old rocksteady rhythms and old reggae rhythms, and it have the dub aesthetic. So we realize that the music is changing, and it don't have a name. You understand? And two persons are critical here. A guy named Michael Tomlinson, who is a show promoter, and then Sugar Minot, who at the time had a sound system called Youthman Promotion, and of course was producing music and was singing songs like "Give Them in a Dancehall Styling," "For All the Dancehall Fans." So when he was talking about that, he was talking about the space. And the culture of that space. And in a song like "A Dance All We Day" and "We Are Play Reggae" is a similar thing. The space of dancehall, the culture of the music at that time, because it's a name dancehall yet. And Tomlinson and his partner, Loy Grant, realized that the music was different from the Black Uhuru and the Dennis Brown and the reggae output, and decided to start a concert series called Dancehall. Through collaboration with Sugar Minot, they came up with the name Dancehall. So the first one was, I think, in 1983. I don't remember exactly, but it was called Dancehall 83, Dancehall 84. And that's how all of a sudden the music that was being produced, the DJs, the reuse of the old rhythms and the way it is mixed with echo and dub and the taking out the dub and all of them type of stuff there. People start talking about guns now. One of the first song was a song. One among a few songs. You had Sammy Dread. When tune him again, man? Babylon Fire M16. Lone Ranger had another one. Talking about guns. So these were some of the early songs. Lone Ranger, Sammy Dread start talk about guns. Little John and them guys that start coming and start a new style called Sing Jane, Ika Mouse, all of them. Barrington Levy and Johnny Osborne, who were classic reggae singers. Had range. Johnny Osborne could sing tenor and then falsetto. So they had a range, and they realized that as singers, what was happening in in sound system culture was different because DJs were getting more popular. So if you never had a style to match the DJs, nobody wouldn't want to hear you. And that's how the Sing Jane started. Okay. So people like Barrington Levy now, who used to sing, "What kind of world are we living in? 21 girls salute." Start sing. On the intercom, Josie tell me if he come, because she never, and then people like Johnny Osborne had a song called Rewind. And the first version of that was, "If you're happy and you love it, say rewind. Jack it up or it tapping it one more time. I say rewind, rewind, and jack it up one more time." By the time dancehall, the Sing J style come, him start totally different. If you're happy and you love it, say rewind. Jack it up or it tapping it one more time, rewind. Michael Jackson, rewind, and jack it up one more time. So it's more staccato and rhythmic. That's how the Sing J coming in. Then people like Billy Boy, people like Ika Mouse come with his style. People like Liquor John, and Liquor John had a long run, Matey Song, True Confession, all kind of big songs. And so that is how the music became dancehall. But let me tell you something. Every time the music name changed, there's resistance. When it was the only one maybe never get a resistance was Bento. But when it was ska, there was resistance. It is foolishness. It is rubbish. It's going nowhere. I remember an article in the Gleaner that somebody referred to it as ska, and this is rubbish and it's not going anywhere. But we moved it to Rocksteady. They say it was foolishness. And why are we changing the music? Because ska is established now. We don't want anything else. When we change it to reggae, reggae got resistance. It's foolishness. It is one chord and two chord, and that is not music. When it changed to dancehall, the same reggae and rocksteady and ska veterans rejected it and said nothing can name dancehall because dancehall is a space. To this day, there are artists and people in the music industry that still reject the term dancehall for the music. So every time there's resistance. I believe dancehall transition long ago, and we are in a new period. And that's why you hear things like one beat, one pop. You have things like tropical house. You have things like trap dancehall. But what has happened in this new period is that we have been so caught up with dancehall culture and dancehall music. We don't realize that the music changed. Musically, totally different from what was original dancehall. Because for me, there are two periods of dancehall. The digital period and the analog period. The first part of my description a while ago was the analog period, where we used to reuse old reggae and rocksteady rhythms and use a dub style to make the music. And then we include things like Sing Jane and make it dancehall. Then in 1985, and even before 1985, but the distinctive year was 85 because of the slinting rhythm. And slinting wasn't the first drum machine music because Bob Marley used a drum machine, him and Scratch Perry, on songs like Asaase and Natural Mystic, the original Natural Mystic version, is a drum machine.
Oh.
Yeah. And Asaase, which is on the Natty Dread album, is a drum machine play that.
Wow.
So sometimes people don't understand the history and the technicality behind the music, and sometimes people make grand statements that are incorrect. So even Prince Jazzbo had a drum machine before the slinting rhythm and did a couple songs. But Prince Jazzbo tell me that when he was doing it, people laugh after him. So he had to sneak away and go in house to record the songs because nobody didn't want to hear that sound.
Wow.
You know? So when slinting come in now with the MT40 keyboard, Jammies and Noel Davy, and the rest is history. Jammies with him, his brilliance as an engineer make the slinting sound unimaginable in comparison to what the loop was in that MT40. And I tell you, we kind of underestimate some of our producers because they do well and we praise them, but we don't realize the kind of genius people like Jammies, people like Tubbies, people like Sly Dunbar, and I can go on and go on. People like scientists, people like Scratch Perry. These are absolute geniuses in terms of sound, creativity, and music, and we sometimes take them for granted. You see? So the dancehall period is the analog, the digital period. But by the 2000s, we start changing. Sly Dunbar start switch it up and do what we call dancehall fusion. Murder, She Wrote is not a dancehall song. Murder, She Wrote is Indian Bhangra music and Naya Bingi music and Mento music.
Mixed together?
Yes. Yes, and
Murder, She Wrote?
Of course.
By Chaka D Boss and
Yes. You know?
It's not a dancehall song?
I don't call it a dancehall song.
All right.
Listen to it. Listen to it.
All right.
Boom. That's the bass drum of Naya Bingi music.
Yeah.
And the pop. Sly was in England and started to hear a lot of Indian Bhangra music. And it's Sly telling me this. You can ask him when you talk to him.
All right.
And he say, all right, you know what? I like the sound of the tabla. And the tabla is an Indian drum.
Okay.
And him start introduce it. And when he introduced the sound, and him introduced the sound with Murder, She Wrote and a bunch of other songs, like a song called Santa Barbara. He was infusing the tabla sound into it. So that's how it sounds that way. It's not regular dancehall triplet sound. Top, 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 top. It have a totally different feel. When Sly got people to ask people to be on it, some people couldn't manage it. Some artists couldn't manage it. Them don't know how to situate themselves on a rhythm like that. You see?
Wow.
So that period you started. I have a rhythm called the earthquake rhythm, which the tabla sound is in it again. We start to call the tabla sound or the water drum. Tum to tum, tum to tum, tum to tum. And if you hear that, the tone and everything, the frequency and everything, is Indian Bhangra music it coming from.
Wow.
You see?
Wow.
And that's why I always tell people, none of our genres ever die. Because they always resurface in every new form of music that we have. Okay. So as I tell you, Naya Bingi music was in Murder, She Wrote. And Mento, that guitar, the guitar is a Mento feel. Mento feel. Yeah. The Mento feel. So that period, I call it dancehall fusion. But by the time the 2010s come around, I call it the style when people like Daseka, Steve McGregor, and all of these guys now are growing up on hip hop sound, and everybody using the same sound cards and the sound and the same instruments as the rappers and everybody. And so it's almost impossible not to be influenced by all of this sound. And Jamaica is a space where you are exposed to a ton load of music from everywhere in the world.
All right.
And it must influence you.
Yeah, definitely.
See?
So, ladies and gentlemen, we're here with Dr. Dennis Howard, and he's a lecturer in the University of West Indies. And matter of fact, when I got here, he took me to the reggae unit, and I'm like, do you guys teach reggae as a subject over here? And he was like, that's you lead. Now, Doc, I would like you to tell me, why reggae unit over here?
Well, all right. So there is my department is called the Institute of Caribbean Studies. So, and one of the directors, the great Professor Carolyn Cooper, she was one of the first academics to interrogate our music through textual analysis. And she did a lot of work on Miss Lou, Lady Saw, Bob Marley, and Anthony B, and really interrogate the music and give it a different perspective. You remember, we are coming from a context where academics shun our music and our culture. Well, certainly the majority of them, not all, because we have people like Professor Nettleford, who has been the champion of Jamaican culture and Jamaican spirituality, Barry Evans and all of these. But she zoomed in on the music in a more granular way. And after a while, she became the director of the Institute of Caribbean Studies. And then she initiated a reggae studies unit because she said that we created reggae. We created so many genres of music, but reggae is the strongest one. There needs to be a department that can put an academic spin, research the origins, the players, the history of the music, the musical composition, the sociological underpinnings of what made reggae so special and how reggae was created. So the Reggae Studies Unit was created. And part of the Reggae Studies Unit is to, on an annual basis, to host the Bob Marley Lecture, which is another brainchild of Professor Cooper. And so, a lot of distinguished scholars have presented at the Bob Marley Lecture. Louis Shoke, Haji Mike from Cyprus, Matthew Smith from history here is now abroad, Cindy Breakspear. This year we're going to have Barbara Blake Hannah to present. So it is not only academics that do the lecture, but musicians, producers, friends, lovers of Bob Marley. But the lecture is not necessarily about Bob Marley. It is in his honor, but the topic doesn't have to be about him. Because when I did my Bob Marley lecture, I did a development of Jamaican genres, similar to some of the descriptions that I gave you earlier. That was what I did. And it's only recently, last year, the focus went back on Bob because Haji Mike had written a book on the media's treatment of Bob during his lifetime. Okay. So we thought that was important for him to present. So he's doing that, and Barbara now is doing her perspective as somebody who knew Bob Marley. Okay. So the reggae unit is about we offer courses in popular music of the Caribbean. So we not only look at reggae and look at the Jamaican genres. We look at bolero in Cuba. We look at spooge in Barbados. We look at soca, raga soca, and calypso in Trinidad, and some of the music in St. Vincent and Grenada, and all of these things. We have courses, the Bob Marley and his music, which I teach sometimes.
You don't have any aspect of African music over here?
Yes, every one of our courses, dig deep into the African origins of our music.
Okay.
So while we at ICS might not do a specific course on Africanness and African origins are always in all of the courses, because it is almost impossible to teach about reggae. It is almost impossible to teach about reggae. It's almost impossible to teach about Caribbean music and not speak about the African roots of the music. So that is something that we might have to do in terms of looking at probably doing a course on Afrobeats, the origins of Afrobeat between Ghana and Nigeria. You know, we might look. We have done. Dr. Naya has done some work on South African Kwaito.
Okay.
You know, so individuals have looked at different aspects of African music, myself included, but we don't teach a direct course on Africa. But we definitely teach African philosophy. We teach African literature and all of that, and African studies in our faculty is still active and vibrant.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're live on Asaase Radio, 99.5 in Accra, 98.5 in Kumasi, 100.3 in Cape Coast, and 99.7 in the northern region, Tamale. And we're all the way in Jamaica. I'm talking about, to be specific, Mona, on the campuses of University of West Indies. And we are at the Reggae unit, where my good friend, Dr. Dennis Howard, is a lecturer over here, you know what I mean? And he's educating us about, reggae music, how the whole thing started, dancehall, mento, steady rock, and all that. Now, Doc, there is this thing bothering my mind. You understand me? And I don't know why Jamaica have kind of stand up to this. You know what I mean? When you made mention of reggae unit in the celebration of Bob Marley.
Yeah.
To create awareness about Bob Marley and all that. Aside Bob Marley, we have great musicians like the Peter Tosh, like the Bonnie Wailer, like the Dennis Emmanuel Brown, like the Garnet Silk and all that. All these artists have contributed a lot to Jamaican music. Why is it that it's always about Bob Marley?
No, it's not always about Bob Marley. In
but
fact,
you did say a while ago that.
But I know.
Yes.
But all right. So there's cross fertilization and collaboration between the different faculties of the campus, and there is an annual Peter Tosh seminar that is done in conjunction with the Department of Sociology, Dr. Michael Barnett, who is always in Ghana during Panafest. In fact, he was there the last Panafest. And the ICS, where we look at Peter Tosh. And I made a presentation about Peter Tosh. And his daughter was there, and I can't remember the other presenters now. But so we do Peter Tosh, Professor Carolyn Cooper have done seminars with Tanya Stevens. Famously, she did one with Vibes Cartel, who he did a presentation here. So we do work with Tanya Stevens. Some of our colleagues just finished a book on Tanya Stevens.
Bob is always on top.
Well, but it's the king. This is the king. We can't deny that. But that doesn't mean that work on the other. I for one do a lot of work on Scratch Perry, on Sly Dunbar, because I look at the production and the creative side of the music a lot. I look at engineers like Stephen Stanley, So there's a lot of work, but internationally we can't escape Bob. But there is work being done. As I tell you, a book was just done, although it was not done by a Jamaican scholar, but a book was just done by I think somebody in England on Yellow Man. You know, so work is being done, and we are interrogating different aspects. We are doing work on sound system culture right now, a massive project that is global basically. And myself and Dr. Naya, we are the main researchers for the Jamaican aspect of it. You know, so there's a lot of stuff, much more to be done, but we need the time and the resources to continue the work.
All right. Okay. So how do I pick up a course over here in case I want to step into the reggae unit and study over here, learn about reggae music and all that? How do I pick up a course?
So the most of the short courses are done in the summer. So I've had international students when I teach Bob Marley and his music, and we teach it online. So you would have to contact us on the website and via phone or email and get the information as to how you can register for those courses. There's courses on drumming, African drumming and reggae drumming. There's courses on storytelling, all kind of different aspects of Jamaican culture. There's courses on Jamaican food, you know. So, and we are currently developing some short courses that will be available online and in face-to-face in terms of all different aspects of Jamaican music. I just wrote a course, develop a course on sound system, and we just did one on mentor. So if you want to do those courses, sometimes we have students from Japan, Europe, North America, you know, and most of that is done in the summer.
Okay.
So,
all right. So we'll look into that and see how we can, you know, pick up a course and at least learn about reggae music and all that. One thing also, which has become like an internet fight between Jamaica and Africa, is the fact that a lot of Jamaicans are saying that, you know, we in Africa sold them into slavery. And because of that fact, they are not Africans, a lot of them. As a doctor and as a lecturer of music and also Pan-Africanism and culture and all that, what are you doing about this to let people have like serene mind when it comes to Africa? Because the great Peter said, no matter where you come from, as long as you're a black man, you're African. But a lot of our brothers over here, you understand, are saying that we sold them into slavery, and because of that, they are not Africans.
Yeah, but you see, that's the divide and conquer kind of scenario that we have to battle and struggle against and resist against. And the brainwashing and the subjugation of the black mind is real, you know, and it is 400 years of telling people that they are inferior, that they are no good, that we're still battling with. That is why we still have people that bleach in this country. Not because they probably feel inferior, but because a system tells us that if you have a lighter skin, you will get through in life better and you'll get access to other things. And when people see that reality, that's why they bleach. It's not because, oh, I don't like my skin necessarily. It's because of
they're doing it for a purpose.
Yeah, it's a colorism system and a racist system that exists everywhere where white Caucasians invaded, plundered, and destroyed the psyche of the people. So you will hear that. And it's the kind of information that you'll get. People will come to Jamaica from North America and Europe, and when they see the standard of living and how the kind of development that is here, they're shocked because they believe, based on their socialization, that we live in trees. The same thing in Africa.
Yeah.
You know, however,
Mhm.
Jamaicans believe that Africa is totally underdeveloped because that is what we are bombarded with every time. Every time you see Africa, you see sufferation, you see starvation. Nobody sees the highways in Ghana.
Mhm.
Nobody sees the buildings that are popping up in Accra
Mhm.
on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Nobody see the fancy apartments and nice homes that people living in Africa, because we don't control the outlets that we are exposed to. So there is a mindset that, oh, I am not African because I appear hungry people and them evil and all kind of things. Similarly, people are saying similar type of things about Jamaicans from a North American perspective. So we have to re-educate ourselves, and we have to fight against those biases by exposing the reality, the truth and the reality. And I think that we are breaking down a lot of those barriers through technology. And TikTok has gone a far way in breaking down a lot of the misconceptions about us as black people. And I would tell you that the people who are saying that they are not Africans and they are Jamaicans, it is steadily decreasing. People are now getting an understanding of themselves because it is exposure and education and re-indoctrination to tell people that they are somebody, they are special, they come from greatness, and all of that. A lot of people believe that. I remember years ago when I was an undergraduate, a student said white people are superior because black people never invented anything, or anything that is of any good is white people do it. She was talking from a position of ignorance, and that is the problem. So we have to break down the barriers of keeping certain information away from our people. And I guarantee you, through culture, music, fashion, food, the world, the African, the global African continuum is coming together faster than you think. Because from where we were many decades ago or even years ago, we are coming closer together through collaboration with African artists and Jamaican and Caribbean artists. You know, Afrobeat probably do a song with every Caribbean island. Him do it with Trinidad, him do it with Jamaica, you know. He's collaborating with all kind of different people, you know. Stoneboy collaborate with Jamaica. Stoneboy is like a Jamaican now.
All right.
Him come here so often.
Yes.
Despite the fact that them did not give him like a heat because of a badly written headline, and people want to sell newspapers and create havoc.
Yeah.
You know, when people were saying that he was saying that reggae music comes from Africa and was invented in Africa. That's not what he was saying.
Yes.
Every music, whether it be rock, any kind of white music, the basis of it is African. That's a fact. So reggae music, mento, and all of the Jamaican genres have their roots in Africa. The good thing is that because of what I call the creative echo chamber, it started in Africa with the cultural retentions that survived all of this turmoil and evil and subjugation and genocide, attempted genocide of the African that came to the side of the world. And we retained the culture and in the context of the Caribbean, created different mutations of the old culture from Africa. And hence you got reggae, you get bolero, you get soca, you get spooge, you get candomblé, all kind of different, bachata, all kind of things. The other one, salsa, tango, all of it is African.
Yeah.
And then it goes back through the North Atlantic route of going to North America, Europe, in terms of the UK, and the Africans who are in the UK being exposed to the repackaged African music that is now reggae, soca, dancehall, ska, and everybody meeting to the point that the music goes back now to West Africa. The Bob Marleys, the Peter Toshes, all of these people, music, and the dancehall, the shabarangs, and all of that, and come back to where it's all started. And then the Africans loving it because it's their music. We love jazz, we love country, we love all of them type of music. Why? Because it's our music, despite the fact that we as Jamaicans never made that music. Without R&B and without country and without blues and without jazz, we couldn't create reggae, dancehall, rocksteady and all of that. We couldn't. So right. It's just one. It's just basically one continuum. It's just the African roots being manifested in different parts of the world and just coming around and influencing everybody. You see, I can demonstrate it through one rhythm. It's the drum song rhythm. It started out as a Latin jazz song. All right, da da dee da 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 dee da da dee da 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 da. Tum 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 tum. That bass line, we invented that because when we adopted the song, we call it the drum song. So we use the same melody, ba da dee da da. But in terms of the bass line and the drum track, the drum and bass is tum 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 tum. So that reiterate in a Jamaican music for years till it reached the 1990s. And in New York, it reappears as a hip-hop version. You're coming out this year, what am I going to do for you, hold me? Okay, we get wicked this year, the music can control me. We get that, but it's a hip-hop style now. So look, it started out as a Latin jazz thing. It come to be a rocksteady thing. It then become a reggae song. Then it become taken from New York, which we had some influence in creating the hip hop. Now we merge it with the hip hop sound and we get the hip hop thing. The reggaeton people there now take it on. And one of the first, even before it was called reggaeton, there's a song by Daddy Yankee, which was done by a producer named Palero. And in the song, they use two loops. They use a hip hop loop, and then they use the village caller loop, and they also use that hip hop loop of drum song. You know who was one of the first one to use that in Africa? Timaya. Oh. I don't remember the name of the song.
Yeah.
You know, just recently used that same beat. Burna Boy with Kilo 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 Meter.
Kilometer.
Because that song is a dancehall song, you know.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know that Burna Boy in his early career was basically a dancehall artist.
You're right.
You know?
You're right.
With Dan Dada and all of these songs.
Yeah.
So what the point I'm making, there's absolutely no reason why Africa and the Caribbean and North America, Black America, should be fighting. It is our music. in different forms. We should be working together. Nobody is saying that Afrobeats don't come from between Nigeria and Ghana, because that's another
topic.
it's another
They
topic.
come from Ghana.
Is it all right?
And
Is it?
Nigeria come to thief it.
Yeah, you see, and the Nigerians will say no, we did it. So that's another issue. But there's no need for that, because that's how, as Africans, that's how we create our music. We take from each other, and it's the one music that's going around in this creative echo chamber, as I call it. Is it?
All right. So and now talking about all these, following a lot of artists, on social media and all that, I realize that a lot of artists are losing half of reggae music.
Yeah.
Max Romeo had an issue that he was taking, VP Records, to court, for not paying his royalties and all that. Now, as a lecturer, as a teacher of the music, what are you telling these artists to do? In terms of getting their things together and making sure that everything is right.
So let's get this thing straight. The world is built on exploitation.
Yeah.
And the exploitation of brown people continues. And in every aspect of life, there's exploitation. The music business is an exploitative business. It extracts high value from creators, and they get the least out of it. I don't care if them white, brown, blue, or yellow. And then with racism, African people have always been at the lower end of it. All when our music is the greatest music, they still put us down. Black music we created all music, but they always elevate the white manifestation of the music over us. And so I think it's not VP. I think it is Virgin Records.
Yeah.
No, Trojan Records.
Yeah.
Trojan.
I think Universal
Your Records, yeah. But true, because Universal acquired Trojan. So it is unpaid royalties in terms of sales, and some of it is copyright issues also. It's just exploitation that has been continuing, and we have seen even artists that are Michael Jackson, people like what's his name again? Him used to be in the group, George Michael, Prince. I've been talking about the exploitation that happens in the music, and they are successful and they have money. So it is, and so it is a situation where a lot of the artists never knew the business side of it, didn't care about it either, and were more interested in the fame and the quick money, and not looking at the long-term issues. And then in some situations where they even if they wanted to and understood that they should have gotten their royalties, nobody was talking to them. So it is a sad situation, but it is consistent with global capitalism. Global capitalism is exploitative and love to take away, and a lot of people don't understand in the music industry. You have to give up your property to earn money from it. And in giving up your property, whether it is your song, whether it is your music, you sometimes are the person who get the least out of it. And that is why some people are against the music system as it is, and try to find alternative ways to create music and to make money from their music. The copyright system is exploitative. By the time a songwriter gets money, there are so many people up the value chain that extract value from that. Publishers, PROs, CMOs, all of these people from this one money, So you end up, out of the 100% value, you might get 5% by the time it's done. So
this is ridiculous.
Yeah, and so we have to find new ways of getting our music out there. I think the Jamaican music scene is always ahead in terms of finding new ways. And some of the things that we have established early out have become industry norms. But when we were doing it, it was frowned upon. You know, the remix culture started in Jamaica. Without Jamaica, that would be, if it wasn't for King Tubby's and Lee Scratch Perry and Augustus Pablo and Keith Hudson and all of these guys, we wouldn't have a remix culture. You know, we were, because of the restrictions in terms of access to venues, access to airplay, we developed the touring as one of the main ways that reggae artists would earn money. Now that is the norm. Before, while we established that as our biggest income earner, the North American and UK system was that you do an album, you tour to promote the album, but you're not making any money from the tour. And then hopefully the album will sell, and that's where you make your money. We reversed that. We were not getting into the space to make the kind of money. And even when our songs were being distributed by people in North America and the UK, all kind of chicanery business happened where we don't see the real numbers as to what is sold and what have you, and all of that. So most of the reggae artists earn their money from touring. So we established that long time. That is now the norm, where the main income source is touring. You know, so we have always, our practices are frowned upon and say it's informal, it's dumb, but in the long run, a lot of that become the industry norm when they see the ingenuity of what we are doing.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're live on Asaase Radio, the voice of our land. My name is King Lagazee. The show is Yaad Settingz, and we're all the way in Jamaica, the University of West Indies campus in Mona. Now, let's talk about some of the challenges in our space as reggae people and how to overcome them. Especially, we have a lot of youngsters coming up as musicians, as producers, you know, as selectors and all that. How do we, you know, build up ourselves so that at the end of the day, we wouldn't face those problems that our veterans are facing? Now that they are taking people to court to go take their money and all that. What should we, the youngsters, what should we do, Doc?
I think it's not even up to the youngsters. It's up to people in spaces like Ghana and Jamaica, from a government perspective and from a leadership perspective, to understand that the creative industries is the future. And that if we don't integrate it into the school system so that people understand copyright, so that people understand contract, so that people understand the music industry, so that people realize that the live event industry is a billion-dollar, trillion-dollar business, that movies are a billion-trillion-dollar business, you know, that entertainment is and broadcasting and creativity is a big money earner. If we start training people, we in Jamaica don't have a performing arts high school, not even one. Thank God for the high schools that focus on the arts, and even there are some shortcomings because we focus on the arts in terms of just performance. We're not talking about event planning. We're not talking about the business part of it. And so we are always the minstrels, the singers and dancers and clowns. But we are not the managers. We're not the managers. We're not the accountants. We're not the lawyers. You know, it's just recently that intellectual property is taught at this university. That's absolutely madness. Lawyers were graduating and never knew shit about intellectual property in Jamaica.
Yeah.
You understand? So we have to integrate it into the entire society. And unfortunately, and you can tell me what's happening in Uganda. Not Uganda, Ghana. You know, you can tell me what's happening in Ghana. But uh, our leaders are not serious and they have not invested as they should in this area.
It's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's the same thing in Ghana.
yeah. And so,
The creative outside
yeah,
has totally been, forgotten.
mhm,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And, musicians and, creative people, are not being respected as they should.
yeah,
Hence a lot of artists like, Shatta Wale,
yeah,
always, go hard on people in order for the music space or for the creative space to be respected.
mhm,
Because, seriously, like I said, people don't really see our importance.
yeah,
On a more serious note,
yeah,
you understand me?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But
And the IMF and World Bank not saying anything about that. They're talking about, you know, in uh, enacting laws that allow private companies from overseas to come in and invest, and a government must not spend on the public sector, they must not spend on health, and that can't make any sense, And so culture is given a low priority. When if we had started from the high school, from the primary schools, the high schools, the basic schools, by the time they come to the university, we would have people ready. And some people, when they get involved in our programs, this is the first time they are getting involved in it. They don't know anything about it. They don't know nothing about contracts. They don't know nothing about copyright. They don't even know about our music. You have people who don't know. You have young kids in Jamaica who don't know the majority of Bob Marley songs. They know the regular One Love and those other songs, but when you play some of the earlier songs, they don't know them. How that is possible when we have such a great icon. So it has to start there. And if as a society we are not coming together to ensure that we get the best results. I'm one that advocates for a sector to be recognized, which is the sound system sector. This is a unique Jamaican phenomenon. Jamaican artists makes more money from dub plate than live shows. And it's constant. That is them pot boiler. You understand? Artists who don't have a hit in 30 years still eating food on the hits that they did 30 years ago. Why? Because of sound system. Sound system should be recognized. I want sound systems to be designated, and this is being pushed by myself and Dr. Naya, my researcher partner in the sound system thing. We want the sound system to be declared the national instrument of Jamaica. It's like how steel pan is the national instrument of Trinidad and Tobago. Sound system is the national instrument of Jamaica. So these are the things that we want to look at. Bob Marley should have been a national hero a long time ago. Miss Lou should have been a national hero a long time ago. But we are still pushing politicians to be national heroes. And politicians don't do nothing for Jamaica. You understand?
when it comes to Ghana, about sound system thing,
Yeah,
this is the same thing I'm pushing.
yeah,
Pushing the sound system cultural agenda.
yeah.
But it is not an easy thing.
Mhm.
That even among colleagues,
Mhm.
for us to do it for the well-being of our industry, people push back.
Yeah,
People push back almost all the time. I say, let's go. Some people say, oh, because it's Lagazee, I'm not doing it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Thinking that you want to run Lagazee down.
Yeah.
But this is an industry for all of us.
Yeah,
And one person can't do it. We need the hands of everybody to
Yeah,
come on board
yeah,
for
yeah.
us to push. But when I push, my people don't seem to see the importance of pushing. At the same time, you link up artists for dub plate, and it's like all hell kind of break loose.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? A lot of artists don't even understand the dub plate culture in Ghana.
Mm.
But you know, we pushing gradually. Those who don't even know how to go around it, we take them to the studio. We help them to build lyrics.
Yeah.
We help them to arrange it, and it always sounds good when the final plate is cut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the issue to do with sound system culture, is really on my heart, when it comes to Ghana. And that is why I am here to make sure that we see how we can interchange
Yeah.
the sound system,
Yeah.
culture and fashion, from Ghana to Jamaica,
Yeah.
and from Jamaica to Ghana.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Yeah.
So Asaase Radio says, Lagazee, go in there and make sure that you create a particular link.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Doc. So I will be glad.
It is as we say,
Yes.
as I call it, the creative echo chamber.
Yeah,
So all of us are one, and we just have to make it work.
of course. So I will be glad if there could be an exchange program
Yeah.
between Jamaica and Ghana.
Yeah.
Some sound systems can come over, and some systems from Jamaica too can come over to Ghana to have, like some programs.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So that it will enable the culture to grow on a faster pace.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll be looking forward to hear from you on that.
Definitely, man. Definitely. We go way back. So
Of course.
that's not a problem.
Of course. But in wrapping up, what advice do you have for at least the music industry in general, from producers to artists,
Yeah.
to sound system owners, and also to selectors?
All right. First thing is that we must unite. First thing, if we don't unite, we are going nowhere. And it's time for us to stop being minstrels. In terms of we sing, we dance, we play the clown and play the buffoon and the jackass so that people can laugh. All of that is fine, and we are brilliant at it. But also, if there's supposed to be sustenance and development, we have to understand the business side of it. We have to understand intellectual property. We must understand contracts. We understand networking. We must understand how to book shows, how to create tours, and how to license stuff that we create and protect our stuff, and build alliances, build creative cartels, exchange of ideas, and grow internationally. If we don't understand that, we are going to be in the same struggle of some people being successful and the majority not successful, and the people who understand that continue to exploit us and extract all of it, all of our talent and our assets. They'll take it, and they'll continue to take it because they understand the game and we don't. We're trying to be stars, and we are trying to be stars in the worst way. Most as I was talking to Slide On Bar yesterday, we're too individualistic. We want to show off everybody, and that can't work. So my advice: we need to get professional and we need to unite.
All right.
Simple.
All right. We need to get professional and we need to unite.
Yeah.
All right. Let me put you on the spot. I would like you to give me your top 10 artists of all time. It could be reggae, it could be dancehall, it could be old, it could be current. Top 10.
All right, my top 10. No, in no order.
Yes.
That's top 10.
Yeah.
Definitely Ken Boothe, definitely Dennis Brown, Bob Marley. Then there has to be people like the Heptones. So that's 4. Prince Buster, Lee Scratch Perry. I want to put Sly and Robbie as artists. I would want to put in terms of DJs. I put any DJs in it yet?
Not yet.
All right, so we're going. I'll say Sly and Robbie is 1, so that's 3. Shabba Ranks, definitely. I think Shabba Ranks is the greatest DJs of all time, barring none. I don't think, but and I'm talking about sheer. It's not about just hit songs. It's just sheer impact, tonality, tone, is articulation, is delivery. Him is one of the greatest. U-Roy, definitely a pioneer. And I have to put in the queen of reggae music, Marcia Griffiths.
Marcia.
The great. Oh, I love her. Marcia has to be in it.
All right, Father. I'd like to say thank you so much for your time and space.
Yeah.
And I believe that we're going to do this again when I get to Ghana.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right.
Best of to all my Ghanaian family and friends. Bosco, big up.
And today happens to be Daddy Bosco's birthday.
Happy birthday, boss, man. Yo, you're the boss.
Yeah, man. So Yaad Settingz on Asaase Radio. My name is King Lagazee. It's been a splendid reasoning with Dr. Dennis Howard from the campuses of the University of West Indies located in Mona, the Reggae unit. King Lagazee, Asaase Radio, Yaad Settingz. Keep listening.
Avoid Mixie and Lana, you know them.